The International Nelson Mandela Day this year is under the theme Acting to Bring Out Change. And on this occasion, the Secretary General of the UN, Antonio Guterres, believes that it is important to work together, governments and citizens, to build a peaceful, sustainable and equitable world. Nelson Mandela reminded us that, in quote, as long as gross poverty, injustice and gross inequalities persist in our world, none of us would have a real rest, end of quote. So let's go now to his country, South Africa, where some people give their time for the good of the poor. It has been 30 years since Madiba delivered his first speech as a free man from the balcony of the Cape Town City Hall. Nelson Mandela International Day was declared by the United Nations in 2009. The day is marked by businesses, non-profit organizations and schools engaging in acts of charity. 67 Blankets for Nelson Mandela Day is an initiative which began in 2013.
Knitting and crocheting tends to be an old lady's occupation, but we work very hard to encourage the young people to learn to knit and crochet because it's a life skill. And if the youngsters can learn at school, they take away a skill that they will never lose.
But with lockdown keeping most scholars at home since April, youth participation is low. Volunteers at 67 Blankets work for months in advance, using donated wool to create blankets and scarves for needy individuals.
Love, even though you've been through so much. And for me, that stands out, like I say, like a sore thumb, that, even though we all have hardship, we all have pain, we all have disappointment, but still we can spread a little bit of love.
Kathleen Mouton was born around the time that Nelson Mandela retired from active politics. When her mother recently became involved in cooking and distributing food for needy families, Kathleen also decided to volunteer.
I think that Mandela definitely taught us a lot of lessons, and one of them were that we should all stand together and help in the times that we need to, and now is definitely the time that we need to stand together.
The spirit of community can even be found in the poorest of households. Like Madiba's legacy, it is up to those who know why a pair of sunglasses gaze out to Robben Island to explain to a younger generation what it stands for. Nelson Mandela's long walk to freedom may have ended, but his example is still inspiring some to follow in his footsteps.